Time now for stories that are trending now, and Olamide Odekunle is standing by to bring us up to speed. Good morning, Olamide.
Good morning, team. How are we doing today? I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation about breastfeeding. As a young woman, things are really changing, and it's important that we grapple with these sorts of thoughts. Ria, I'm looking at you.
Because I'm next, right?
I've got some good stories for you guys. Can I take it away? Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes on the streets. And we do our best on a daily basis to bring you trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today still on our sporting and academic heroes. As Nigeria rewards its sporting heroes with national honors and generous cash gifts, the former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, is calling for the same level of recognition for academic excellence and other talents. He has now urged the federal government to honor 17-year-old Nafisa Aminu, who emerged as the world's best in English language skills at the 2025 Teen Eagle Global Finals. Now, Issa Pantami believes that the time has come to celebrate academic feats on the same scale as athletic ones, and he's urging the presidency to formally recognize Nafisa and her English teacher. In a climate where sports talent is rewarded with money, housing, and national titles, he argues that intellectual property and intellectual achievement should be equally honored. Now, Governor May Malabuni, reacting to this of Yobe State, has now approved a grand reception to honor Nafisa Abdullah and her fellow outstanding student, Rukaya Mohammed Fema. According to a statement from his media office, the governor plans to host and celebrate both of these stellar young women in recognition of their academic excellence. Moving on now into more serious news. A Nigerian HIV advocate known online as Undetectable Chika has sparked a lot of debate and outrage after alleging that a church denied him his chance to share his testimony because of his HIV status. In a now viral video, Chika explains that he wanted to publicly thank God during a service but was blocked by church officials who reportedly felt that his story was inappropriate for the pulpit. Now, Chika, who is living with HIV, says that he's now undetectable, which is a medical term meaning that the virus is suppressed to such low levels that it can't be detected by standard tests and cannot be sexually transmitted. He says that to him, being undetectable is a miracle worth sharing because it is a sign of hope, resilience, and divine mercy. Take a look at this video.
This is the very fifth time I will come to church and give my testimony and then they will reject me. Fifth time. I tried stigmatization because, I mean, being undetectable is a testimony. The miracle is not only when HIV is no longer in your life. Yeah, to see if I was going to hear my name. People of God, they did not mention my name again. They did not even mention its written form. You are seeing, they did not even mention its written form. And this is a church where everybody is supposed to be one. This is a church that's supposed to include everyone. The person who was even mentioning the names. When I came to church, I went to meet him. He was the one I asked, where is the place I can actually give my testimony?
Of course, this restriction by his church has raised larger questions. Do Nigerian churches owe their pulpit to every believer with a story to tell, no matter how uncomfortable? Or are religious leaders within their rights to curate the kinds of testimonies that are shared in the interest of decency, tradition, or public sensitivity? This is very interesting. Let's take a look at what you guys think on social media. Black Diamond says, God already acknowledged your testimony. You don't need human validation if it's not given. Your church is just a gathering of people who come to worship God. If you're not allowed to share your testimony, then move on. God sees it all. That's if your viral story is true anyway. It is true, he's an advocate. Cooked by God says, but shouldn't he be happy that they didn't give him the opportunity to embarrass himself? Imagine saying you are undetectable in Nigeria. You think girls will still want to have anything to do with you, or even other church members? You guys will use anything as content. That sounds like stigma if I ever saw it. Team, this is very interesting and very scary. What do you think about this church? You know, he said about 5 to 7 times now, denying him the opportunity to share his testimony. Should we be curating what goes on the pulpit, or do we risk losing out on important stories and testimonies when we allow stigma take the wheel?
tell your story. I believe that church is a place where positive stories should be shared. And his story, for me, is what happens to you when you take your antiretroviral drugs regularly, and to get people to know that HIV/AIDS is no more a death sentence.
I think that if he feels the church is refusing to listen to his story, he can share that on his platform as he has done. And a number of persons that are even much more than those present in the church would hear him. His story has gone viral. So that's he also sharing that testimony. I think the church has a right to decide who should speak on what on their stage. If they don't want you, find somewhere else. It's that simple.
Well, for me, I'll say God wants everybody. God is not discriminating, and I don't understand why the pastor was discriminating. If he wanted to share his story, let him share his story. After all, that's his church. I don't like the fact that, oh, if truly, because he has HIV, they don't want him to share the testimony. God has done something in his life, and a testimony, whether big or small, as long as you acknowledge that God has done something in your life, it's okay to share it. So I don't agree with the church, and I don't understand why they did that, but I'm happy that his story is out there because we're talking about it right now, so people get to hear the testimony at the end of the day. And to Nafisa, quickly, I am so proud of her. I saw the news yesterday. I'm like, go girl, she's super intelligent, Olamide. Like, just to see how she did it, I really pray that they reward her with something. Maybe not $100 million or something, but they should reward her actually.
yeah. I also support the motion that she should be well rewarded, because we know some people who do not even deserve anything, and they get like 150 million or thereabouts. But the thing is, for the young guy who is finding it difficult to share his testimony, is it compulsory to share testimony? Just be in the corner of your room and thank God for the miracle that you've witnessed. It's not compulsory. The other person hears it. If you want to say it, as Veronica said, open your Twitter, your TikTok, whatever, and then share the testimony there. It behoves the churches to decide whether it is ethical or not ethical for that kind of a testimony to be shared, via the pulpits.
Now, Tim, I want to say I completely agree with you. The church does have a right to curate the content that goes on their pulpits. However, I think that the bigger issue here remains their reason, their motivations for stopping him.
Did he ask?
There's a lot of stigma still related to the HIV, virus.
Did he ask?
I think that's the bigger issue here. But I'll take some more stories. Moving on, still on church. In a bold and controversial move, the Church of Nigeria, the Anglican Communion, has cut ties with the church in Wales following the election of Reverend Cherry Van, an openly lesbian cleric, as Archbishop. Now, at a high-level legal conference in Abuja, Nigeria's Anglican primate, Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndukuba, didn't mince his words. He described the development as a clear departure from biblical truth, insisting that the Nigerian church will not align with what it views as moral compromise within the global Anglican Communion. But this is not the first time the Church of Nigeria has taken such a stand. Back in 2003, it also rejected relations with the U.S. Episcopal Church after it consecrated a gay bishop. And now, with the Wales decision, Nigeria is once again drawing a hard line, declaring its utmost refusal to recognize Van's leadership and reaffirming its commitment to what it calls scriptural orthodoxy. Of course, this move has drawn both applause and criticism, but one thing is clear: Nigeria's Anglican leadership is making it known that, in their view, culture must not override doctrine. This is very interesting. The church is increasingly grappling with societal change and liberal views, and how they will choose to stand steadfast in the face of doctrine will be interesting to watch in the coming years. Let's take a look at social media. James Berkeley Clark says, where does it end? Do we just allow people to alter the Bible to fit in with their latest perversions? What's next? Child marriage is allowed? It's becoming the devil's playground in these churches. We'll take one more submission. Jasper says, beautiful, absolute respect to the church. They made the best decision for the sanctity of the faith and biblical standards. Kudos to the officials of Church of God, Nigeria. Moving on, in the world of entertainment, Nollywood actress Iyabo Ojo has formally petitioned the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, over alleged misconduct by officers of the Nigeria Police Force, the National Cybercrime Center, and controversial social media activist Martins Vintens Ose, popularly known as Very Dark Man. Now, in a petition dated the 29th of July, Iyabo Ojo alleged serious breaches of protocol, as Very Dark Man was apparently given unlawful access during her recent private interrogation at the force headquarters in Abuja. Now, her lawyers are alleging that the relationship between the police and VDM is inappropriate, citing leaks of private conversations and the neglect of a prior petition that she filed in December 2024, amounting to a violation of her privacy, safety, and her dignity. This is what she had to say.
And I was very dark man had with me. There was one that I held very strong to because, you know, he's very boastful. He pointed to them Suleiman before Suleiman came to join us on that table and said, these are my boys, we work together. We work together. And I was hurt that CP Uche deprived us I know that you are enabling him. Because out of all the conversations that read, that guy that has constantly bullied, defamed me on social media, even claimed to have hacked my phone. The relationship between Very Dark Man and CP Uche.
The actress has now declined further police invitations based on health and security concerns, and apparently she has a lack of trust in the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Now, those of you back home who watch the Trending Now segment, you're going to eat me up for this, but I say VDM Iyabo Ojo, wrap it up. We're getting tired. Let's take a look at social media. Wrap it up. Resalisha says, Iyabo Ojo has never been a standard for anything. She's an actress and influencer and not an activist. Most of these justice cases that she jumps on are clearly for clout and visibility. Let's not pretend otherwise. Anne Session says, it doesn't matter whose side you're on, but this sounds terribly wrong if it's true. VDM has no business being in a police interrogation room for another person unless he's a legal representative or a member of the force. I wonder what VDM would say if the roles were reversed, if someone walked into his interrogation room. Moving on, still in the world of social media, in international news, YouTube superstar Mr. Beast and former NASA engineer turned content creator Mark Rober have launched a global campaign titled #TeamWater, aiming to raise $40 million by the 31st of August to provide clean drinking water for 2 million people. The campaign, which is believed to be the largest YouTube collaboration with over 3,000 creators from about 84 countries, moves to drive awareness and impact reaching across continents. Mr. Beast has done the math, and he says that the math is pretty simple. $1 per person equals to 1 year of safe water. And the funds are reportedly directed to WaterAid, a seasoned nonprofit that's building sustainable, community-led water systems, such as solar-powered wells, rainwater setups, and gravity-fed pipelines. Now, while this mission is being applauded globally, because it is helping a lot of people, it relieves an age-old debate. Why does it still take Western influencers to solve problems in the global South? With more than 2 billion people still lacking safe water, according to the UN, this crisis is, of course, spotlighting the deep inequities in global development and the urgent need for more homegrown solutions. This is very interesting. Let's take a look at social media. Oyega says, why does it take white people to keep Africa alive? Why can't they keep themselves alive? Just something to think about. And B. Monette says, the moment you leave, they are going to tear it apart and sell it for scrap and metal until someone comes in and builds them another one. This is like providing unlimited food to a population of feral cats. All you're doing is ensuring that there will be more mouths to feed. This is a stereotype if I ever heard one, and a very damaging one at that. But team, I want to focus on this story of the Anglican Church. How does the church plan on how should they grapple with the cultural and the changes that we're seeing in terms of sexuality and identity politics while staying through to doctrine? Or should they not even concern themselves with all of this in the first place? I have to say I commend the Anglican Church for taking this hardline stance. And
I agree with you completely. In fact, that's the only story I told myself, look, this is what you're going to comment on. Having a gay bishop, a gay priest and all that, is something we cannot just accept in Nigeria. In fact, most countries in Africa, if not all of Africa, by distancing themselves, they have made it very clear. They have made their stance very clear. And I'm so proud that it's coming from Nigeria.
Well, I'll also touch on that story. It shows that they are aligning with what the scripture is about. Their stance is their stance. What Christ has said is what they are choosing to follow as it is. Whatever the compromise, of course, we know that the end of the times are here, and these are the things we'll be seeing. You need to decide where you belong, and they have decided where they belong.
Simple.
Exactly, and I love the fact that, they are standing by what, they're saying. God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of this. Gayism and lesbianism is not something that we even accept, as a Christian. So I'm happy that they dissociated themselves from it. But quickly on the Very Dark Man and Iyabo Ojo story, I think we're really tired. They should wrap it up. Iyabo is a fantastic actress. I think she should remain that actress that she is. Very Dark Man, he says, is an activist. I wish him all the best.
Yes, talk about the gay church and all of that. I love the fact that Nigeria has taken a stance, and I also believe that he's speaking for the rest of the churches, because I do not know what book they have read, what version of the Bible they've read. They decide to, like, okay, we need to have our own, lesbian or gay, whatever it is I want to call it, because any human that is, born of a woman should not even think in that direction. It shows something is wrong somewhere. That's one thing democracy does. In one of the evils, you ask for it, he gives it to you. And the man, gunning for 2 million or 2 billion, 40
million.
Talking about the population to get
okay.
water too. Please think about South Sudan. They are having serious humanitarian crisis there, as well as Israel. Genocide, war in Gaza, where people, the largest humanitarian, open field, killing people and all of that. So we need to take care of people in this world, everywhere.
Absolutely, team. And in the coming years, it'll be interesting to see if the Anglican Communion, the Church of Nigeria, will suffer. Will there be consequences for this detachment from the gay agenda? But I'll move on now. Now, here on the TVC Breakfast Show, Nigeria is extremely important to us. And from the streets of Lagos to global stages, Nigerians are making their mark in business, in the arts, in science, in sports, and beyond. And right here on the Niger Triumph segment, we shine a light on every win, big or small, because each one tells a story of Nigerian resilience, brilliance, and Nigerian pride. And we believe that when one Nigerian rises, we all rise. This segment is our moment to celebrate the grit, the glory, and the unshakable spirit of our people, because truly, Niger no dey carry last.